Hello, student organization leaders. My name is Josh Olszewski. I'm the Student Organizations Coordinator, and in this video, I'm going to talk about the RSO roster requirements for this year's annual re-registration process. So in the past, organizations may have been required to have a president, a treasurer, and a secretary. In the past, they've been required to have what we used to call organization managers. Well, this year, we're changing things up a little bit. We're giving a lot of autonomy to student organizations. And ultimately, all we need RSO Officer 1, Officer 2, and Officer 3. Now, a little bit later in this video, I will tell you all about how you can rename these positions, anything that you would like. So it doesn't have to be president, vice president, treasurer. It can be whatever you'd like to call these individuals. It is recommended that you list your club's finance officer, if you have one, as one of these officer positions so that they receive important information about ASUU funding. Now, the purpose of these three positions is that these officers are going to be put on file with student leadership and involvement, and they're going to be the ones that we're sending important updates and important information to. So you can choose your leadership however you'd like. You can change leadership whenever you need to do so, but ultimately just make sure that you have an individual listed for these position templates on your organization's Campus Connect roster. So if you go to your club's roster, so here we have the Cupcake Club. This is what our roster looks like. As you can see right now, I am serving as RSO Officer 1. Well, we need RSO Officer 2 and 3, right? So I'm going to come over here. And I'm going to assign RSO Officer 2. You'll see that gets updated automatically. And then we need RSO Officer 3. So I'm going to do that as well. Now, you can have as many officers as you want. You can have as many positions as you want. Just make sure that you have these three positions assigned, and then you can assign any other positions that you would like to. These three folks, as I mentioned before, are going to receive emails from Student Leadership and Involvement. Other positions that you create won't receive these emails, but these three folks right here, they can forward that information on to whomever in the club needs to know. Like I mentioned before, you can rename these anything that you would like. So you go up here to manage positions. Now mine's going to look a little more cluttered than yours just because I have some extra administrative access. So you won't necessarily see all of these different positions. But if we go to page 2, so as you can see, RSO Officer 1, 2, and 3 are position templates. You have the ability to change the name. So if instead of RSO Officer 1, I wanted to rename this to President, right? And then you'd have the ability to either show this position on the public roster or not. So you can click that. If you want this person to receive organization contact form emails, so on your profile, there's a big blue contact button. You get to decide if this person receives those emails. And then we have it set so that RSO Officer 1, 2, and 3 automatically have all access so that they can manage the profile how they see fit. So you won't be able to change that. But once you're done, let's save. Right, so if we go back to our roster, instead of RSO Officer 1, they're now named President. And this is applicable to the other positions as well. So let's say instead of RSO Officer 2, you wanted to name that Vice President. RSO Officer 3, say you wanted to rename that Treasurer or Secretary or whatever you'd like, you have the opportunity to do so. Now, as part of the re-registration form that all student orgs have to complete as part of the annual re-registration process, you'll also come to a roster page that's going to allow you to update the roster as part of the form, if that's easier for you. So when you get to the roster page in the re-registration form, you'll see that you have some roster requirements. Now, the roster requirements are, as we've mentioned before, Officer 1, Officer 2, Officer 3. You'll see that these 3 check marks here, we still need to fulfill 2 of the 3. So we can come down to our current roster. As you can see, we have RSO Officer 1 here. Still need to do 2 and 3. And then again, up here, we got 3 check marks now, so we're good to go. And then you can also see them down here. Also, if you want to invite members to your roster, you can do so here. You have the ability to assign a position to these folks that you're going to invite. So let's say you just had an election, you elected someone who is currently not on the roster. You can assign their position and invite them to the club's roster all in one foul swoop if you'd like to. So let's say we just hired someone who's now our RSO Officer 1. Now it's important that when you're sending them an invite via email, that it's their UID at utah.edu. So that's U and 7 digits at utah.edu. If you don't use this format exactly, they're not going to receive the invite correctly, and they won't be able to join your student organization. So it's important that you use this format. And then their first and last name, just add that here, and then hit add. The folks that you invite are then going to get a request via email. They'll have to go to their university email and accept this invitation. You can also add members in bulk. Again, you would just use U, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 digits. And you can add as many folks as you'd like. Again, the folks that you invite, they're going to get an email that they'll have to accept, and then they'll be added to your roster. So you can do that here. But ultimately, as long as you've fulfilled these check marks here, these requirements, then you'll be good to go. If you're a sponsored student organization, you'll also need to assign your advisor. So you'll see a 4th check mark next to advisor, and you'll need to make sure that you fulfill that requirement before moving on. Again, the point of all this is to make sure that we have the right folks on file so that we can send important updates, important training, exciting involvement opportunities, information about ASUU funding, information about the Get Involved Fair, and other benefits to being a recognized student organization. Having folks on file make sure that we're sending that information to the right people. So you'll have to fulfill these requirements before you can submit your re-registration form. If you assign these positions on your roster before filling out the re-registration form, that's okay. So if you were to fill these out before, once you got to the roster page and the re-registration form, you would just see these already checkmarked because you've already fulfilled those requirements. So you can do whatever method works for you, just as long as you fulfill the requirements in some way. If you have any questions, you can feel free to reach out to our office at studentorgs@utah.edu. Again, that's studentorgs@utah.edu. Please let us know if you have any questions. Thanks for watching.